Alright, so in this video I will be going through step by step how to create the first part of the mini train project, and that is the train body. I've got Inventor opened up already. I'm going to click New, Part, Inches, and hit Create. I'm going to start a new sketch. Again, it doesn't matter which one you start on. I generally start on this XY plane. And we have a center point here. I've got my blueprint already opened up. With the mini train project, we are going to start with this front half right here. Right? I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to start by creating this circle. This circle has a radius 0.75. So I'm going to click Circle. I'm going to do it off my center point. And before I click it, though, I can right-click and switch it to Radius. Right? So now it's dimensioning the radius form. Type in 0.75. Zoom out a little bit. Below that, I have a rectangle here. So I'm simply going to create a rectangle. Use my dimension tool. The height of this overall rectangle is 0.88. The width of this overall rectangle is 2 inches right here. Right? You can see it's there, but it's not centered and it's still in purple. So what I'm going to do is click on a dimension and place a dimension from my left side here to my center. And because this is 2 inches, this dimension is going to read 1. Right? So it's starting to get there. I still have got purple lines. Next up, I need to align it vertically. If I look at my blueprint, the bottom of this rectangle to the center of my circle there is 1.38. So from here to here is 1.38. And that aligns it. I can do a finished sketch. Extrude. I'm not going to worry that this is here. I'm just going to simply make sure that I click all 3 parts. Right? Looking at my blueprint, from here to here would be, looking at my blueprint, what I need to do is determine this distance, right? My overall dimension is 5.5. I'm going to subtract from my 5.5 this 1.75. Right, so looking at my blueprint, what I need to do is determine the length of this specific portion. Right, my entire thing is 5.5. This back cab portion is 1.75. So I'll pull up my calculator here. Got 5.5. That's the whole thing. Subtract 1.75. Alright, so the length of just this portion is 3.75. Back on here. My extrusion is going to be 3.75. That's just the front portion. Now to look at the back portion, I'm going to rotate to my back side. I'm going to add a new sketch to the back side. The overall height is based on this center point. Right? So again, I'm dimensioning in a radius 2.35. So I'm going to create a circle, making sure that we are in radius. You can see that my dimension is only half of the distance there. I'm going to type in 2.35. But again, it's purple, so I'm going to dimension from my left side to my center 1 inch, and from the bottom to that center point 0.375. Right, I don't need the whole circle, so what I'm going to do is project geometry, grab my whole object, and create a line that goes from this left side point all the way to my top, and the right side point all the way to the top. I'm not going to worry at this point that it is purple. I'm going to trim out this other portion, hit Finish Sketch, do my extrusion from the isometric view, click Extrude, and click on my entire object, making sure to click that new piece as well as the bottom half. Right? Again, going back to here, this distance is 1.75. Alright, so that's the basics so far of the train body. Let's look at this right hand side window. I'm going to add a new sketch to my right hand side. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I've got a circle from this point, but notice it still has a radius. So I'm going to type in 0.5. The distance from the bottom to that center point is 1.75. The distance from the back of the train to that center point is 0.25. So the back to the center point. Just like the previous one though, I don't need the whole circle. What I need to do, if you look closely here on the blueprint, it is flattened out. So I'm just going to use my line tool and flatten it out from the top quadrant straight back, bottom quadrant straight back. I'll use my trim tool to remove the remaining portion of the circle that I don't need. And now I can extrude that out. So finish sketch, go to extrude, select that piece you just made, switch it to cut. Let's do a through all and hit OK. A few more pieces here. The front of the train has 3 holes. Those 3 holes are used to hold the cow catcher on, which we'll make in a future video. I'm going to start a new sketch on the front. The size of these holes are all diameter 0.125. So before I place it, I'm going to right click and switch it back to diameter. Now my distance is going all the way across, and it's 0.125. I'm going to do all 3 right away, and I'll come back and enter my other dimensions, right? So every circle needs 3 dimensions. We need its diameter, that's what's already there. Now I'm going to dimension from my bottom up. So from the bottom here to my center on both of these is 0.125. So bottom to center, 0.125. Bottom to center, 0.125. The distance from the bottom to the center of that middle circle is 0.625. Bottom to center, 0.625. Right, so now they're all aligned this way. I need to look at going left to right. First one I'm going to do is that middle one. I need it directly in the center, so I just want to make sure that's a 1 inch from my left side to my center, 1 inch. Now looking back at my blueprint, from my left side to the center of this circle is 0.375. Left side to center, 0.375. I know that it's the same thing on my right side, so from my right side to my center, 0.375. Those are my 3 circles. I'm going to hit finish sketch. Looking at my blueprint, these are all extruded 0.125, so I'm going to hit extrude. You might need to zoom in a little bit here, making sure to click on just those 3 circles. Switch to cut, and again 0.125. I'm going to go ahead and do the hole on the back side of the train right away. Similar idea. New sketch, back side. I've got a circle located down here. Notice my line is going all the way across, so that means that it's already in diameter. The diameter is 0.25. Use dimension and align from my right side here to my center is 1 inch. So right side to my center, 1 inch. And from the bottom to my center, 0.375. Finish sketch. Click on extrude. I don't want to add though. If you look at this, it's going down 0.5. So I'm going to be sure that it's cut and switch it to 0.5. Right, so we've got a few more steps here. On the right hand side I have 2 holes. Zoom out. They are threaded holes. This quarter inch by 20 UNC tells me it's a threaded hole. So I'm going to use that hole feature. We've got my first hole is right back here. The size of that hole is quarter inch or 0.25. Then if I click on this bottom line, it'll allow me to dimension this 0.5. And this back line will allow me to center it my 1 inch. This is a threaded hole. That's what this means here. So I'm going to click on my threaded option. It should automatically pick up that it is a quarter inch 20 UNC. Right, we want to make sure though that it is going through the whole thing. So click on full depth and hit OK. Right, you can see there that it is now a threaded hole. I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. Again, hole right here from the bottom is 0.5. From the back of the train is 4.5. Right, making sure that you're going all the way to the back of that train, not to the center of that circle. My hole again is threaded and it is full depth. Hit OK. And I have 2 completed circles. Right, so there's 2 more steps. One is to fillet all the edges. That's what this is telling us here. But the other is to add the hole on the top for our train stack. Right? I cannot simply add a new sketch to this rounded portion. It will not allow me. What I need to do is add a new plane. So I'm going to click on plane, click on this train body, and then click either one of these flat portions here, and you'll see that it creates that plane right across the top. That allows me then to add a new sketch here. I've got a diameter circle that is 0.5. So circle, 0.5. I dimension it from my left, or from my top there to my center, just to make sure that it's 1. Right, because my whole train is 2 inches, so I want that distance to be just 1. And then from the front to the center is 0.88. Front to my center, 0.88. Finish sketch. Click on extrude. This is telling me that it's going down 0.25. So I'm going to switch it to cut and type in 0.25 and hit OK. Now if I want to remove this plane, on my left hand side here I can right click on work plane 1 and turn visibility off. Last thing that I'm going to do, on the very bottom it says round all edges, radius 0.1. So I'm going to click on my fillet tool, make sure that it is selected at 0.1, and then go through and select all of my edges. Do not worry about, or do not click on any of the hole features. I think I've selected them all. I'm going to hit apply, cancel, and I can close it out. If I had missed one, I can simply double click on fillet 1 and just go through and select any of the fillets you might have missed. All right, that completes our train body. Thank you.